Tuesday, Wesleyan Worthy Today is all about the Harlan-Lincoln House. Joining me, I have Anna Villareal, who is now the new curator, director, and
all hats.
Well, speaking of wearing a lot of hats, Elizabeth Garrels is here as well. And Elizabeth, I think you have been a longtime supporter as part of Friends of the Harlan-Lincoln House and probably in many other ways as well.
Well, thank you, Theresa, and thank you to KILJ for giving us this opportunity to talk more about the Harlan-Lincoln House. Certainly a wonderful treasure for Iowa Wesleyan University as well as our entire region.
Mm-hmm. Well, and that's kind of where this is headed a little bit. And now that you're here, trying to bring it back to what it was, trying to spread the word. Mm-hmm. It's a very well kept secret these days. You know, people just don't realize what that house contains.
And we've been doing a lot working with our executive committee, which Dr. Garrels is the president of, and going through kind of all of these kind of updates. So we have a new basic brochure, a new membership and volunteer brochure. We have just sent out our first of the quarterly newsletters. So really disseminating the information to as many places as we can. And, you know, we did kind of a soft opening at the beginning of December where we just kind of slowly opened the doors to our typical public hours. So the Monday to Friday, 12 to 4 hours. And we've seen over 100 tours since that December 1st date, and several groups. And we are starting to have student groups come through and kind of traveling groups. And it just is really nice to start kind of feeling the life back in the house and seeing people interact with the story and with campus and with the specific artifacts in the museum.
You know, there's been a lot of work done. The house was refurbished to look more on the outside like it did when it was first built. And over time, the Friends have gained momentum. And it's just, you know, I remember when I told Anna before, I remember when I was a kid and we took a school tour through there. So it's just it's a lovely home. It's a museum. It's a part of the campus. And we really want people to take advantage of this and for educational purposes and whatever. But I know that the Friends would like to see a little more participation in their organization.
Yes. So we have a lot of different ways where you can become involved. And you know, we really appreciate volunteers. You know, the core and the heart of the house is volunteers. And in addition to kind of the traditional ways to volunteer, we have some unique ways. And our three particular ways are primarily docents. So that's, you know, people say, what is that? And I say it's so much more than a tour guide. It's someone who is passionate about the house, knows the history, and really likes engaging with the public and bringing them into our space. So yes, they do provide tours, but it's kind of so much more than that. And then we also have collections assistants, so individuals who help behind the scenes. Because it's just me on some days, it's really great to have that extra support in working on exhibits or caring for artifacts, those types of things. And then we also have kind of an outlet for people who are interested in event planning and helping coordinate those types of things. Because as we grow and as our Friends group reaches out, we really want to start bringing you know, more exhibits in, hosting lectures or educational programming outside of our typical hours, and that just takes interested parties and more manpower behind it.
Mm-hmm. Elizabeth, you're passionate about all things Iowa Wesleyan.
Absolutely. We wear purple.
Well, yes, we've got some purple going on here this morning. But specifically about the house, why are you so very interested and invested in that Harlan-Lincoln home?
Well, that's an excellent question, and thank you for asking. Certainly in the month of Presidents here in February, it's a time to lift up our relationship to the Abraham Lincoln family that is shown through the relationship of the James Harlan family and the Harlan-Lincoln House most particularly. But what a treasure and what an opportunity to show the national relationship to prominent families that developed here in Mount Pleasant, in the heartland, for which we can be justifiably proud. But it's a story to tell, and it's a story of national prominence, and I think that needs to be recognized and lifted up. And as we began this conversation to think about a well-kept secret, there have been certainly the times since the early 50s when the location was designated to be a museum from having had many other uses through the ownership years since 1907 that Mary Harlan-Lincoln gave the home in honor of, in tribute to her father, to the university. But I think that I'm passionate about it because it is so typical of maybe Iowa humble, or
We don't brag on ourselves.
we don't tell about all the wonderful treasures we have. And honestly, this is the only national site that tells the story of the Abraham Lincoln grandchildren. An exceptional story that is very homespun and typical, and is everybody's story of appreciating their grandchildren and enjoying the opportunities here.
Well, as a child visiting the home, we were in elementary school. We were so fascinated by all the Tad Lincoln stories, and that appealed to us as children. The other thing, though, too, over time, I have begun to learn a lot more about James Harlan, especially after the statue came to campus. You know, there is a lot to that gentleman and what he did and his contribution to the history of the United States, his role in government, his friendship with the Lincolns, and also finding out more about the Harlan family. And one of the ways I learned quite a bit about it was through one of the brown bags. The brown bag lectures that it was held, I think it was 2 years ago maybe. And those brown bags are not just about the Harlan-Lincoln house, but they benefit the house, and they're extremely interesting. And I know you have quite a program set up for this year in March, because that's when they run.
Yeah,
March.
we do. So it's every Tuesday in March at noon, and we host those in the International Room at Chadwick Library, just next to the house. And I think it's just such a testament to the appreciation of the house and to the volunteers that this is, I think we've been doing it more than 10 years now. And we have a great lineup this year. I don't want to say anything about the first speaker, but it is me. I'll be kicking off the series talking about the class of 1918 at Iowa Wesleyan, and just how kind of the global identity of ourselves as United States citizens affected campus, affected those students, and then what they went on to do, not only in the World War I effort, but also in both Iowa and Midwestern communities. So I'll be starting with that. And then we have a wonderful presentation on the Jefferson Highway from author Lyle Henry Jr. He's coming down from Iowa City to talk about this road that went from Winnipeg to New Orleans in this time of cross-country travel, which I just find so fascinating.
What a journey that would have been.
Exactly. We'll continue on March 20th with author Rochelle Chase, and she's talking about Lost Buxton, and it's Buxton, Iowa, and how this very prominent African-American coal mining town had these wonderful stories and narratives that she's collected through photography and oral history to really document a town that no longer exists. You know, its foundations are still there, but where this narrative would have been lost without her and her research, I find fascinating.
That's a fabulous program, too. She is a great speaker, so that will be very, very interesting.
And then we'll close our series on the 27th with Leo Landis, who's the state curator for the State Historical Society up in Des Moines, talking more and focusing more on World War I and how Iowans and individuals in Henry County reacted to that conflict and were involved in that conflict.
This is another free opportunity brought to our community and the region by Iowa Wesleyan and its associations and connections. There's so many times we talk about events on campus that nobody else in another community would have that access to, and have it so reasonable and even free for us. And that's the brown bag luncheons are that way. Bring your lunch and come. They don't care whether you pick up a sandwich at a local establishment or pack your own, or and I think the couple times I went, it was packed. It was just full up in the Chadwick Library and in the International Room. So just a great opportunity in the month of March.
And it is over the noon hour, so employed people who have a 12 to 1 noon hour can certainly feel free to come in. And we're pretty prompt at concluding at 1.
Yes.
There's opportunities certainly to visit with the presenters later if you have that chance. But we invite everyone to come to this series.
I have seen Iowa Wesleyan personnel there coming in over their noon hour, but this is certainly for everybody, and you will be amazed at what you will learn, details that you might not have heard just on the the regular tour.
And the house will be open afterwards. So that's the only time we're kind of deviating from that 12 to 4 open period. And so that's on those Tuesdays. We'll just be closed until 1, and then we'll have several docents and volunteers as well as myself throughout the house. So feel free to meander on over to the museum afterward, and we can continue discussions there, answer any questions, and kind of show individuals around if they haven't had the opportunity to come see us yet.
Let's not forget about Friday afternoon. Very special ribbon cutting, kind of a rededication or reopening to celebrate the fact that the house is now open in the afternoons, and just to also call attention once again to this particular
We're
building.
very grateful for the Mount Pleasant Chamber Alliance for seeing the vitality and the relevant role of the Harlan-Lincoln House Museum in our community, and offering to do this grand reopening ribbon cutting, bringing it really to the attention of the whole area.
And so that's Friday afternoon.
Yep, it starts at 4 o'clock. The ribbon cutting will be at 4:15, and it lasts until 6. And it's really just a come when you can, come as you are kind of a event. So we'll have docents and volunteers throughout the house, as well as at a reception in the International Room at the Chadwick Library. And so it's really the time that you can spend, whether you're on your way home from work or before you leave campus. We just want you to feel welcome to stop by, to kind of experience the house either for the first time, the second, the fifth, whichever.
Well, and if you saw it 50 years ago, it's not going to be quite the same this time.
We do have one of the really cool offerings, which we've just started doing, is we have the second floor open to those who are interested in going upstairs. We have an Etched into History exhibit, which talks about different artistic renderings and depictions of President Lincoln that are in the Harlan-Lincoln House collection, because so many different artists have depicted him in a myriad of mediums and at various time periods in his life. And so I think that's a really unique way that we can showcase some of the art that's in the collection and some of the sculpture.
All right. Ladies, this has been really great to hear so much about the plans, the things that are happening, and going forward. There'll be more things to talk about as far as the Harlan-Lincoln House is concerned. And if anybody's interested in volunteering or becoming a part of the Friends, where should they go? Who should they contact?
So they can always call the house or email us, and we can send a membership brochure or things along the line for volunteering if they're interested. You can also find all of that information on the Iowa Wesleyan University website.
All right. Elizabeth Garrels, anything else from you today?
Thank you very much. I just reinforce the fact that we do believe in the mission of the Harlan-Lincoln House, that it does show a vital role to what's living history at the university and in the whole Mount Pleasant community. So come and join us and see.
All right. Anna Villareal is director. Thank you both for coming in today for Wesleyan Worthy.
Thank you so much.